Welcome back to the channel. Last week we were talking about the 2JZ and the Samsona's transmission, and I received a ton of pushback when I said I was gonna take the 4Runner and I was gonna make it two-wheel drive. So this week we're gonna talk about why I'm making the 4Runner a two-wheel drive. So according to Instagram, I'm not gonna be able to take this 4Runner to the sand. Well, let's debunk that theory. Baja trucks are primarily two-wheel drive. Now what I mean by Baja trucks, I'm talking about the trucks that go out and they race as fast as they possibly can. They're jumping, they're drifting, they are two-wheel drive. So the build that we're putting together here is reflected and modeled off of Baja race trucks. The rear suspension is designed almost identical to what you're gonna see a truck driving in the Baja 1000. The power to weight ratio is very similar to what you're gonna see on a Baja truck. And so it makes sense to take out the extra weight out of the front, leaving the naturally front heavy 4Runner lighter in the front and heavier in the rear. Going through the Instagram comments, I had comments like, you lost me at no four-wheel drive. Why didn't you go with a different motor and transmission so you could keep four-wheel drive? Well, I've been very focused on this build. I know exactly what I want to build, and that's one of the things that makes this build so special. I know I'm committing sacrilege taking four-wheel drive out of a 4Runner, but I don't care. This thing is gonna speak for itself. The power that it's gonna have, the suspension that it's gonna have, I guarantee you've never seen anything like it. So while it might be a little bit more kosher to stick with the four-wheel drive, I'm here to push this thing as fast as I can, as high as I can, and to find the limit of the 4Runner that no one else has. Let's talk about why Baja trucks are two-wheel drive. There's a massive benefit when it comes to weight savings. You don't have a front differential, front drive line, or transfer case. It's just right off the back of the motor to the rear wheels. That lightens up the front of the truck, you use less fuel, and you have less working parts. So if you're out racing in the Baja, you don't want to break something that's unnecessary. So why would you include a bunch of four-wheel drive parts if you're not going to need them? And the third reason is that it increases the travel. Now, if you're racing through the Baja, you're jumping, you're going over whoop sections, you need as much travel as you possibly can. Binding CV axles or some other four-wheel drive system is gonna limit the front travel. So why have it at all? I've got 5-inch extended lower control arms. So I've got all that extra travel. Now the only thing that could get in the way of that would be CV axles. Those are gonna bind when we're going up and down. All the other joints, they're Heim joints, they're uniballs. Everything is designed to actuate and give me as much travel as possible. Removing those axles, that's gonna maximize the amount of travel I can get. Along with the suspension, a major component that's gonna allow us to run on the sand is the sequential transmission. Now, what is a sequential transmission? Sequential transmissions are used in all kinds of motorsports, from drag racing, drifting, rallycross, trophy trucks. Their ability to handle large amounts of power and provide precise shifting makes them an ideal option for a build like the 4Runner. All right, make sure you guys don't miss out on a second. We've got a lot of things going on with the 4Runner. Please make sure you smash like and subscribe and turn notifications on to catch more of me and Spoolie Bro Garrett. If you were hoping it was gonna be four-wheel drive, stick around to the end of the video because I have a surprise just for you. That's enough talking, let's get into working on the motor. So I'm gonna do something new today I've never done. I'm gonna 3D scan the side of the block. We're gonna map out what this looks like on the computer so that we can import it into SolidWorks and we can build a motor mount that's gonna bolt right up to the block and set the motor perfectly in the engine bay of the 4Runner. So we actually had an idea of flipping the motor mounts from side to side, and we think that might actually be a perfect fit. But one thing I want to do is I want to build a stronger motor mount. We're upping the power. The motor mounts that are already in the 4Runner, they would need to be gusseted, they would need to be strengthened up. So it's easier just to scan the whole thing, start from scratch, and make sure we do it right the first time. Where did you put my 14 millimeter socket? Why did you put it here? I don't know. I'll tell you what, guys, the help. the help around here. And here we go. All right, let's start playing with the 3D scanner. This thing is super cool. It is picking up the face of the engine block and just mapping out the dimensions. So this is gonna tell us exactly what dimensions we need to build those motor mounts to, so we can be spot on the first time. All right, that's enough technical talk. Today we are going to mock up the turbo. We've been waiting for this thing to show up. Look at it. You've got a turbo and a wastegate to test fit. I can't wait to see these things on the motor. This thing is gonna look blingin'. This is so freaking cool. I get a little bit emotional when I think about what we're doing here, because I put so much time and effort into the 4Runner before the motor blew. And to see this actually happening, it's emotional for me. This is like what I dreamed of before I decided to pro charge the 4Runner. And it's what I kept teasing myself with even after I decided to do that. So to see this come to life, to see the turbo on the manifold and know that this is gonna be living in the engine bay of the 4Runner, it's beyond words. But I have one more surprise for you. Next week, the game changes. I mentioned earlier something about 4-wheel drive. You'll have to come back next week and see what's going on, because it's a game changer. I got it, I almost said. Because the next few videos aren't gonna be ones because the next few videos are gonna suck and you don't wanna watch them. Now to go along with the wider suspension, now what was I gonna say? I don't remember that. No, I can't do that because it was really smooth. What is a sequential transmission? It's a manual transmission that runs, what is a sequential transmission? I don't know. Does it look like it's wearing a hat?
Yeah.
And I received a ton of pushback when I said I was gonna make the 4-runner. Why can't I say 4Runner?
That's horrible.
No, it is not. It is what this entire channel is based on, is 4Runner. Got it. I'm here to push this thing as fast as I can, as high as I can, and to find the limit of the 4Runner that no one else has.